Hi, my name is Tiffany and this is my tiny house that I built here on my property in the middle of Central Florida. So I've been living in my tiny house for the last 8 months and it's 8 by 20 feet long. My tiny house is currently parked on our 1-acre property that we just bought a few months ago. We currently have a house that we're renovating at the front of it, and we parked our tiny house in the back, which is really convenient because we're able to live here while doing the work. Not to mention we're also building a man cave for my husband in a few months, and I'm also planning on adding a greenhouse, some decking with a jacuzzi, and just making this a really full, nice outdoor experience. Because this is our own property, we actually have well and septic already installed because there's a house here previously. We did have to run over a breaker for the tiny house itself to plug it in, and we're also working on adding a septic system so we can run the sewage lines from the tiny house directly into it so we don't have to worry about carrying a portable tank anymore. So on the exterior, we actually don't have too much going on because we just moved here literally a week ago. However, we have big plans to create a wraparound deck from the front entrance to the side doors that you guys saw. All right, so let me show you guys the inside of my tiny house. Welcome to my tiny house. So this is a roughly 200 square foot build, including the loft, which makes it quite spacious. And the whole build took roughly 3 years. It was me and my dad, plus like all of my family members kind of got involved with the whole process. So it's really nice to see the whole thing come together after many years of working on it. Some of my top design goals with the space was kind of to make it clean, aesthetic, obviously looking, and very just lively with plants, kind of organic, because being tiny, I feel like you have to bring more of the outside in, with big windows, just lots of natural light. So right behind me, this is one of the most unique and one of my favorite parts of the build because it was very custom to me. Being an ex-makeup artist, I really needed my own beauty space to get ready, do my hair and makeup because it takes me hours, so I wanted it to be nice and comfy. So right here we have the staircase, obviously, which we use to get up to the loft. I have my little rolling makeup get ready thing. This is one of those little kitchen swivel things. Actually came out really handy. And then in here, I have my makeup drawer, so ideally I'll put a chair here, I'll have my little mirror, I have my light in here, and I'll sit down, and I have my full-size vanity like I had back in my room. And then everything under here is also just clothes storage. So starting after my whole vanity section, I really needed to have a sort of walk-in closet situation going on. And one of the most important things was obviously fitting my 36 pairs of shoes in my tiny house, which honestly I've never heard of, but somehow we did it. So I have all of my heels in here. Not all of them, I still have some at my mom's house, but this is most of my heels. Do I wear them out much? No, but it's just one of my prized possessions, so I like to have that in here. And it just closes like that. And then this was kind of like a second addition that we decided to put in here. And by we, I mean me. I like to have my jewelry displayed because I feel like it just makes it easier to get ready. And that's one of the things that I really didn't want to compromise on was, you know, having all my stuff laid out and being able to just pick and choose like very conveniently. Like those big walk-in closet tours, which I love. Clearly I don't have that, but I have something. So I DIY'd this. This is actually a car part that I bought to make the little latch so it'll stay closed and it's pretty strong. And then these two big boys are my actual closets, where I have all of my clothes. Again, not all of it, but most of it. These hangers down here for my pants, they used to be quite long and obviously they wouldn't fit, so I had to go in and individually cut every single hanger and put the rubber back on so I could fit my pants in here. But this whole thing was built. It was literally just a piece of wood. I did the framing. One of my friends helped me out with that. We did, you know, painting and all of that. And then these racks I hung up by myself. So this was very custom. I will say though, you have to kind of be a little fidgety with it because it doesn't quite close the way that it should, but eventually I'm hoping to get this a little more professionally built so it actually works a little better, but it gets the job done. And then this one here is more clothes, but I left this back part longer so it cuts off right here so I can store my dresses and my longer stuff. Basically everything that I could squeeze into this tiny space, and somehow it still closes. If I had done my closet like this regularly, I would have roughly 2 feet of space. So because I have 2 feet wide on the stairs, I actually doubled the space that I had to hang my clothes. So because they're all hung up sideways, it really gives me more space to hang things up. Clearly not in the most functional way, but it closes. And also too, it's just kind of one of those things where I really wanted to have everything laid out like I had in my regular house. So just opening and having all my clothes just laid out, and when I'm filming, you know, my get ready with me and my fashion videos, I can just pull all the drawers out and I'm just walking around to figure out what outfit I'm wearing for the day, and it's not like a hassle to open a bunch of drawers.
What's better than exploring the outdoors? Doing it in style. Meet the tiny but mighty Jackery Explorer 1000 V2 portable power station, a perfect outdoor adventure companion. The V2 is stronger, faster, smaller, and more long-lasting than ever before. It has an impressive 1500 watt output. That's a 50% boost from previous versions. Even better, it now features a super long-lasting LiFePO 4 battery with 4,000 life cycles. That means with daily use, it will last 10 years. The 1000 V2 has an industry-leading fast charge capability. So no matter where my adventuring leads, I can rest easy knowing it'll be fully recharged in just an hour. It can also quickly recharge with the extra durable Solar Saga 200 watt solar panel. Set it up in just 60 seconds. And then enjoy the incredible high efficiency conversion of sunlight to power station charging. Ready for adventure? Get your Jackery Solar Generator 1000 V2 today. Enjoy 31% off now through July 18th. Use our link in the description below.
So moving back further, we have our living space, which is just this really cozy little nook. I love how we did this custom couch, and by we I mean me. I built the whole thing, and it was really funny actually because I couldn't find the right size cushions and I couldn't find pillows to fit this. So this is actually a pull-out bench that I followed a YouTube tutorial on, where it pulls out and it turns into a full queen size bed. So one of the things that was kind of important to me was having space for my guests or my friends, not to mention these giant storage bins that I have underneath. So these are 2 practically ginormous drawers where I can just throw in all my junk, because I needed a wall to film on when I'm doing my videos and things. So that's why this was blank, and I decided not to have a TV, so we decided to get a projector instead. Hung it up. It's nice, clean, aesthetic. It doesn't get in the way of everything. You don't have very many wires. And then we have this, so when we come to watch movies, we'll typically turn on our twinkle lights, turn on the projector, and we'll open this into like the half bed, which folds out once. It was really important to have a lot of open space for me, including our giant double doors that will eventually lead to an outside deck. Funny story actually, windows are the most expensive part of a build, and having a window, what is this, like 6 by 7 feet, would have cost me thousands. So I found these double doors for free on Facebook and I painted them. I'm a person that likes to kind of just have a cool breeze in here, so I'll just open this up and we'll be good to go. And on this side of the house, we have what starts to be our kitchen slash my workspace area. Right here, we have this giant countertop. And by giant, I mean giant for a tiny house. We have all of our dishes and our stuff in the cabinets, which makes it super easy to just pull it out and do what you have to do. You don't have that, you know, back and forth of a lot of kitchens. So it's really spacious. We have never had an issue really with the amount of space that we have. It was really important to me to have a small kitchen because I'm not a huge cooker. Clearly I like my clothes and my shoes a lot more. I love the clean aesthetic, the black cabinets, which I don't think a lot of people would do in a tiny house because it's black, but I just feel like it gives such a sexy element to the kitchen and just makes it its own space. And also to this ambient lighting that was an afterthought because these are not wired, which is, you know, kind of a creative DIY hack since this kind of came after the whole idea. And then in here we typically keep all of our food. which is a little weird because it's under the sink, but we don't put any cleaning products under there. And funny story, I actually could not find black cabinets for an affordable price to put in the tiny house. So we had some people that were getting rid of them, and they just sold me all of them for like 300 bucks. And it came with the inserts too. And they're all soft close, and my dream. I'm so happy that it came together. And then up here we just have some extra food and stuff that we don't really use much. We have this picture window, and this was very planned because it opens outward like an awning. So eventually when we have the deck built, this will be kind of like an outside barbecue area. So this was already planned in the whole design. Found the window too on Facebook Marketplace, love that place. So it was really nice to be able to find such a nice window for an affordable price. This countertop is actually not quartz or granite, it's all porcelain tile. These are 2-foot by 4-foot slabs. My family actually owns a flooring store, so we had some spare samples around, and because of the weight thing for the tiny house, we really didn't want to do something so heavy because I was scared obviously to kind of surpass the weight of the trailer. But to be safe, we decided to do porcelain tile on the countertops, which came out amazing. It's so easy to clean, they're polished, and it was DIY'd by me and my dad. And then my husband decided to put the only color that we have in the house on the fridge from our travels. We also get to explore all of these places because we're living tiny essentially. And in this entry corner, we have what is my husband's compromised closet because he came after the fact, and this was really the only available corner that I had. Originally, the microwave was supposed to be here, but I figured it didn't really fit in since I wanted to keep all the kitchen on one side. So right now we just have like some little decor, all his clothes and things, which surprisingly somehow fit in 3 drawers versus mine. And then my YouTube plaque, which I'm very proud of. So the mini split was one of the biggest challenges. I had purchased it without knowing a single clue how to install it. Clearly it's pretty high up, so that didn't help any with the install either. But the biggest problem is it's facing off of this wall, but this is not the wall that leads to the outside. So we had to run the piping through the bathroom and back outside so it would function properly to the outside unit. So I'm 22 years old and I'm originally from Connecticut, but right now I'm living in Central Florida. I'm a fashion and finance builder, just about everything influencer. I'm also a loan officer on the side. And yeah, I'm a tiny house enthusiast, I guess. I built one myself, and I also like flip and remodel house. I kind of just do the whole thing, do everything. I owe everything to my parents. They're immigrants, so we learn the hustle since we're little kids. So my mom used to be a loan officer when I was a little girl, and then we moved down here and she became a realtor. My dad has always been kind of like a handyman slash, we used to do like flooring installation, all that good stuff. So we do a lot of home remodeling, and then eventually they just kind of started buying houses, fixing them up and selling them, and that's kind of how they got their start, which was great because I was young, so I was able to catch on to that and learn everything and just kind of take it all in. My husband lives with me in the tiny house. He came in halfway through the process, and so the fact that he was able to kind of accept tiny living, just, you know, hey, I have a house and it's 150 square feet, give or take. Do you want to live in it with me? And he was just kind of like, I guess we'll make it work. Can I have a space for my little gaming setup? I said, done deal, let's do it. Obviously, rent and mortgage rates are not the best. Clearly, the American dream's kind of just like gone. I'm sure some people can still afford it, but you have to be making a lot more than what you did a few years ago. And my age and, you know, being Gen Z kind of on the cusp, we kind of, you know, need to figure things out in a very different way. So I figured, you know, what's better than not having to pay an expensive mortgage and also not having to pay an absurd rent, and our hobby is traveling, which clearly isn't very cheap either. So I feel like tiny living was kind of the best of both worlds because we can kind of save some money, you know, to have to invest to grow our retirement and all of that. And also too, I feel like it's just super cute and tiny, and I love it. And back here we have the bathroom. So we have kind of like this little mini vanity here. This used to be a kitchen cabinet, so we did do a little bit of compromising on some items. We have our mirror here, which I love to use to get ready in case I'm not sitting on my vanity, because this whole thing lights up pretty bright. And then we also have a ton of storage down here, so this was really, really handy to kind of hide all of that junk. So on this side here, we have obviously a framed wall. Now, I felt like that was kind of a waste of space in a tiny house. So we made some shelving, and I also DIY'd some sunglass storage, which we have a lot of here in Florida. But yeah, it's just a great way to have, you know, some of our nicer items on display, especially like I said, when we're getting ready. I just love to have all my items laid out. So it's really nice and handy to have your perfumes, your sunglasses, and just anything you might need before walking out the door. And on this side, we have our tiny shower. This is one of those pre-built fiberglass showers. I did really want to do a tiled one. My dad just was not up for it, so I had to compromise in this part of the house. However, black tile would have looked really nice in here. But I did get my glass door that I really wanted. This was important to me, one, to not have any leaks, because we've already gone through that with the roof. And two, I feel like it just gives a more clean aesthetic than having a shower curtain. Yeah, it just looks really sleek, but this was definitely one of the harder things that I had to install because I was by myself, and I actually dropped this door twice on the way into the bathroom. So I'm surprised it didn't crack, but somehow it's hung and it hasn't fell down since, so I think we're good. And up here we have our garage. We used to have a tankless water heater, which was 240 volts, and then since we're on a 30 amp breaker, we had to get rid of everything that was 240. So we had to get a little mini tank because they work a little better, according to a few other tiny house enthusiasts. So we decided to switch over, which we needed a lot more space for. Our AC lines run through here as well, which was kind of the solution to having it on that wall. And it just runs straight outside, and then we just throw a bunch of junk up there because this is the ugly corner. And she's gone. And now heading upstairs into the loft. Clearly we only had enough space roughly for a bed. Somehow I fit a lot more into here. So we have a full queen size bed. It's a really thin mattress, but it works really well for us. And my husband, who's like 6'1", has enough headspace. I have enough headspace, and the roof slants down that way. So in case we're back here and we want to like lay against the back, we have plenty of room up here. It doesn't feel claustrophobic at all. We recently added some shelving units up here for his gaming setup. You know, he has his remotes, and then we also have like a night light and some shelving up here. I also have one on the other side because I wanted a place to put my phone at night when we're sleeping. And on the end of the bed, we have this really big desk. We actually DIY'd this with epoxy. My husband really wanted to do some DIY epoxy. Took us forever, but it came out really nice. And this is his little office space / gaming setup. He usually has his laptop here. We put up this huge monitor, which we can also use to watch movies up here in case we're not feeling the downstairs area. We have all of his gaming stuff, which I have no idea what it's about. And then over here, I also made these little cubbies to kind of keep some, you know, stuff that you might need / the rest of the junk that he has. Really, he just uses this to game, which is really nice because I typically work downstairs, so we kind of have our own corners to be able to work, but it still feels like we're, you know, kind of separate when we need our own space. So it's really nice that this kind of came together. Eventually, my husband wants to do a man cave now that we have our own property, so this will probably be gone. But I do still want to keep a monitor up here to watch movies. But it's just nice to have a little tabletop / nightstand that we can use for virtually anything. So I decided to build a tiny house. It was definitely a struggle getting to convince everyone of my idea. I mean, it was one random day, you know, 2 a.m., you're on YouTube, just watching away in high school or whatever. I'm sure everyone has gone through this. Sometimes you'll stumble across like a funny video or a weird video. I stumbled across the tiny house community videos, including this channel as well. And I just spent the whole night just watching tiny house videos. Like, wow, that's so cool. I wonder what it feels like to live in one. Like, do people actually do this? And so there were so many questions, and I'm an Aquarius, so I love questions and I love finding the answers to them. So for me, it was more not, you know, oh, should I do this? It was like, how am I gonna do this? Towards the end of like my high school era, I guess, we had to do a senior project, and so I decided to do mine on tiny house living and why it's good for not only the environment, the community, yourself, basically everything, because there's a few downsides, don't get me wrong, but I got A+ on that project. Everyone loved it. And then I started actually having the idea of building one. I told my friends about it. Most of them thought I was crazy. I told my dad about it. He goes, like, buy an RV. What do you mean, like, build a tiny house? Now he like shows it to all his friends. He's like, yeah, I built this house with my daughters. And I also feel like it was a really cool bonding experience. I feel like not all daughters, so to speak, are into the construction world. So it was really cool to be able to basically say that I built this house with my dad. It's like really heartwarming. Since it took 3 years, I was kind of gradually growing my business. And just as a person, you know, I started off when I was 18. So most 18-year-olds just graduated high school, we have no money. So after I started working, I was able to spend a little more on the tiny house, which obviously I don't regret because you can never buy a house for this price. In total, with like everything, including the furniture, the decorations, it's probably less than 18 grand. If I just ran out of money, I would just kind of take a pause. And most of the stuff labor-wise was done by me, so I would buy little things like a gallon of paint, outlet, which is like $1 at Lowe's. And I also started social media kind of halfway through when people are like, you should film that. I'm pretty sure, people would watch that kind of thing. So it was nice to be able to monetize the build with some social media income. I feel like also too in the social media world, it's opened up like a community for me to be able to build and just be able to share the experience and help other people that are trying to build a tiny house. It's really cool to be able to chat about this kind of stuff and, trade ideas. Some people want to copy like my closet system, which is super cool to see. I'm hoping, eventually when my YouTube channel grows a little bit more and hopefully either start building them, to sell or to give away or to help, build a tiny house park. That's something that I would love to do. And just buy more rental properties. I don't buy the ones that are like, oh, someone could move in today, because the bank doesn't finance like tear down houses. So I like to take those and actually make them livable. So along with preserving something that was already built and is now unusable, you're also making more housing and just, putting it down like a fair market rent. Obviously you got to pay the expenses, but you took something that was not functional and now you made it functional and livable. So I feel like there's really no cons to that. 100% build your own tiny house. There's nothing like it, and I feel like the pride that you get from it is just really, I don't know, it's not like you want to be like cocky about it, like, hey, I build my own tiny house, but it's kind of cool, like, hey, everything in here was hand done by me. If I have a dinner party here, you're gonna be eating on a floor that I built, you're gonna be eating on a couch that I built, you know what I mean?
Thank you for watching our video and for stopping by Tiny House Expedition. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Christian. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And for more tiny home tours and stories, click the videos below.
And join us on Instagram for bonus content,
including face-to-face conversations with us. We hope to see you there.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.